this special meeting to order.
All right. We are working on getting something on the screen for you. You have it in front of you. You can put it on.
It's coming.
Okay. So back to our ARP money that we got. Seems like a long time ago now. We allocated, if you're looking at the screen, we allocated specific amounts for a few different projects that are currently underway or have been completed. The Lake Tomahawk Dam project, we allocated about $500,000 to that, which is in the process as far as engineering goes. Highway 70 water line project, we allocated $500,000 to that. That is also in process with engineering. Charlotte Street sidewalk, $65,000, also in process. We are actually, we just got the RFP posted for construction of the sidewalk, so that is posted now. The public safety bay apron, that has been completed. Pickleball courts have not been completed. That is in this year's budget we're currently in. And then grade or renovation, $195,800. That is getting ready to be underway. We've been waiting on soccer to end.
We have a contractor for that?
We have a contractor for portions of it. Not the flooring yet. We haven't done flooring, but the ceiling and lighting, yes, we have contractor for that. Insulation, I guess I should say.
They're gonna be sprayed in.
It is. Yeah.
And they would just spray it in, or we gonna paint over it? Or?
Right now it's just spray in. I don't know if I want to spend money to
It
paint
needs to
it.
be painted.
I don't know that that's
Just
really
worth the money.
worth the money to paint that, but yeah, just spray in. That's what we're thinking. So remaining funds we have currently are $1,119,200. Now, when I say remaining funds, these really aren't ARPA funds anymore because we chose to spend our ARPA money on revenue replacement and salaries, which was an allowable expense. You could actually spend up to $10 million on that. So in order for us to jump to the least hoops possible, we chose to do that, which kind of opened up our ability to do more things with the money and not be tied to certain categories that the federal government had laid out for us. So what you'll see is we have, like I said, $1.19 million left. I gave a couple of examples in here on the spreadsheet. Now, I've got this up on the screen as we talk. I can manipulate these numbers. You can add other projects, take these away, whatever y'all would like to do. But just know that as we go through this, my intention would be whatever you decide today or when we decide this gets programmed into this year's budget coming up, the 1.19 million.
I guess we said the town will now have 2.6 in the excess of general fund revenue.
That's right. So by paying salaries and lost revenues, what ended up happening was that 2.6 million just comes in as general fund now because we're paying salaries with it, so it offsets that cost. So now we have an excess in general fund of 2.6 million, or will.
And that's not assigned.
Well, 1.4 AR is. Yes.
So just a process question. I know we've talked about this before, and I have a little list, and I'm sure every council member has ideas, and clearly the staff has ideas, and I would be willing to bet the public has thoughts too. So I'm wondering if we could talk about this today, but not vote, and give the public a chance to have input in another time.
If that's what council would wish to do, I think that's fine.
We need to have public input on this.
So I don't know what that means, like at the next council meeting, yeah.
Yeah, what would that format look like?
So that's up to you on how you want to take it, right? If you want to do it that way, then we would come to the next council meeting and, people could do that under public comment, or they could, I guess people could submit an email to town council with their requests. I think there's a number of different ways we could handle it.
Do we have any mechanism to get in touch with emails? We have a red alert. Do we have any mechanism other than that to get in touch with
I don't think so,
citizens?
Mayor. I don't think so. I know we could call. I know we have an emergency system where we can call everybody. I don't know how I feel about using that to this, but we do have that system, if the numbers are updated. So that probably won't reach every single person.
I just feel like the public announcement we make for our next meeting includes the agenda, and if we include it on the agenda, that would be adequate notice. I mean, of course, not everybody reads avidly our public agendas, but I think many citizens do.
I think that's reasonable.
So also, I gave you this, which you've seen before, but this, I didn't know if this would make y'all think about some other things besides what you already have in mind, or maybe you don't have anything in mind.
Josh, before we get too far away from the stuff that's already been allocated, do you, obviously the safety bay apron is complete. Did it come in right around $100,000?
Very close. Yeah, very close to that.
And did you have a sense as to whether the rest of these numbers, which, were allocated over a year ago, are still?
I think the Charlotte Street sidewalk, we may get that a little cheaper. As far as the dam and the water line goes, I really have no possible way of knowing until we start getting that stuff out. I mean, that's kind of what the engineers have given us as a guess at what that's going to cost and look like, but we really don't know until we start getting those quotes in. Or bids, excuse me.
That Lake Tomahawk Dam, does that have anything, is there any money in there, or is there any plans in there for any type of dredging?
No.
Okay, so there is no.
Nope.
Josh, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
So, and this really just relates to timing. I know we've been, last year's council saw all this, and we've been talking about it. If it's not, these things are gonna be sort of worked into next year's budget. Why wouldn't we sort of, I think it's good to have this meeting to at least begin the discussion, but just kind of roll it into some of our budget discussions. We're gonna have, I assume, we're gonna have multiple budget meetings. Seems to me that it'd be better, or it would make more sense, at least maybe to just do that as part of that process as well.
I think that's fine, Councilmember Christie,
Unless there's some time.
well, as we bring the budget to y'all at that point, when we'll start next month, that's going to be pretty much a department head recommendation of what they want to see. By June 1st, I have to present you my recommended budget by law. So, between those times, I would think we could probably work some of this stuff in. But what you may see, when I come to y'all in April with, let's say for sanitation, I don't have intentions on putting these toters in that budget unless I hear from y'all that you want to see that.
So it would actually help for constructing the budget.
It would be. I mean, it's not the end of the world if we don't do it, but it would be
Okay.
a little more efficient that way, I think.
Okay. Well, that's sort of my question. But thank you.
Could y'all turn up the volume a little bit? I can't hardly hear you. I'm just telling you, we can't hear you.
We can't hear you back here.
We'll talk loud. Is that okay? Can you hear?
Well, if you
I
do
will.
it,
Or
I
you can
will. I'll
hear
talk
us at the
loud
front.
every time.
well, I still can't
Like
hear you
this-
talking loud.
Maybe you should sit in the front row. Would that help?
I'm comfortable back here.
Okay.
I was just thinking that maybe we could go through and let each council member list a few of their items. And that way, we can either discuss, we can go ahead and then discuss them later. But if you want to start off, Pam.
Sure. I get to go first. So, a couple of items. I noticed that on the staff suggestions, the recycling toters, which we've already decided to buy those, haven't we?
I don't know that there were, we decided to move forward with the grant, but I don't think you actually decided that we were
got
going
it.
to purchase
They were prioritized at the budget retreat.
them. Yeah, they were.
Yeah. And then there's the garbage toters. which I want to go on record now that from now on, I want them to be called Bill's Bins. I'm gonna say it a lot, so it will stick. Yeah, but at any rate, those were options, and then, the AV, improving the AV in the council chambers, which evidently is important. A couple of things I had on my list. We've already, a long time ago, I think before my time, we approved a plan to have solar installed on all the town buildings. So at this point, I'm just suggesting we get the public works building done. I would like us to consider applying some of the money to the new fire truck that we know is coming. And those would be my 2 suggestions.
Okay. Alice?
You know, I appreciate that we have the Parks and Rec master plan ideas here, so can I kind of pass it along and circle back?
Yeah.
I have a couple, to add in addition. Actually, one was the fire truck and the other is, there needs to be some upkeep down around the lake because there's some things that are doing, like the shoreline and especially the shoreline around the island. And if we don't do something about it really soon, it's gonna disappear.
Just a comment I want to make on that, I agree, need to be worked on that, especially because of the erosion. And whereas I'm not, even though they recommended it on the master plan to pave that around the lake, I don't think that really meets with many of the people in town.
I don't know that we can decide that today.
Well, no, I was mentioning, following up on Archie about, washing, maybe stipulating that hill on the far side where the little, where that fountain is, that may need to be paved. Just that one little section, because that's where a lot of wash comes in and comes down.
I don't think it's a good idea to discuss the
But Archie, I'm just trying to get some particulars. Doug?
Sure, I have wrestled a little bit, thinking mostly about the Parks and Rec master plan, whether it would be best for us to kind of go through and pick off a whole bunch of low-hanging fruit, different $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 projects, across all of the parks that we know we need to, thinking with maintenance in mind, thinking that we need to upgrade some of our facilities. But what I keep coming back to is that, this is an opportunity where we have a large sum of money to do something pretty cool. And one of the parks in particular that is in most need of maintenance and upgrades is Kaiwan Park. And there's so much potential there with the added space for the fire department training facilities used to be, that I think we could probably do, really kind of completely upgrade that facility in a way that would have this beautiful new park that we don't really currently have right now. I mean, so obviously it's a park, but the tennis courts, the basketball courts are in disrepair. The path is in need of an upgrade. The field, is in need of some upgrades as well. So, we could transform that park into something really cool with $500,000, something like that. Then I think that I would love to explore that, adding restrooms, adding a parking lot, updating the tennis and basketball, and potentially adding pickleball down there, upgrading the field so they can be used for soccer and for recreation, upgrading the path. I don't know how much that would cost, but I think that could be something that could come out of this and be very impactful for the field.
And that's gonna be something there that I think that we probably wouldn't be able to vote at the next meeting on this, because you'd need to come up with some ideas following up on his suggestions, right now.
I've got some right here. I've got costs in here anyway.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, if in fact the board wanted to go ahead and decide on those at the next board meeting, fine, or wanted to put that as Bill said in the discussion of the budget. Anything else you got there?
No, I think that's the big stuff. I mean, obviously, there are, thinking of some low hanging fruit, I mean, there are, upgrades to Tomahawk that, that are needed and maybe, you know, should be, some of these are 2 or 3 year plans that could be bumped up to this upcoming budget. You know, grading of the fields in Veterans Park, kind of, upgrading some of those facilities, around the ball fields. You know, I think that there's opportunity for us to do some things, you know, less than $50,000. It could really be nice. But no, that's all I got.
Hey, Bill?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I am firmly in favor of recycling toters and garbage toters, whether they're called Bill's bins or not. I think there's just, we talked about the reasons for that, including the health and safety of our employees. I think that will help with our garbage collection, and those are the garbage and waste are areas that I'm very interested in, as well as figuring out how to reduce those waste. Beyond that, certainly I think choosing some of the projects from the Parks Master Plan, I think that we're sort of firmly, I believe we are as a group, thinking that that's a priority. It's the devil's in the details, but I wouldn't be opposed to Doug's idea of focusing on Craigmont Park or Archie's Lake Tomahawk. I mean, we don't have a shortage of needs, so maybe that's a good thing. I don't know, but and then and I guess what we don't get done, what we don't allocate, and that'll be part of the budget discussion. But so that's, to me, the garbage and recycling and figuring out what other parts that we can get done out of this money. It's a real bonus to have this money. It's a good problem that we have.
If I may, Mr. Mayor, I wrestled a lot with thinking about spending $500,000 on garbage cans. On either they are Bill's bins, but I think I've come around to it. I think that both from the efficiency of the garbage collection and the safety of the garbage sanitation workers to just improving service. I know we heard from some people who maybe didn't feel like they needed such a large recycling bin, but I think that on the trash side, especially, if we have a single bin that is large enough for people to use and roll out, and loosen some of the regulations we have around garbage now, I think that could potentially significantly improve service for everyone and speed and accuracy for the sanitation workers. So I think that we have this opportunity where if we're going to do it, now is probably the time to do it.
Alice?
I think these are all great ideas. It's hard to think about narrowing that list down, so I'll be looking forward to the public feedback that we get. I do think rising to the top for me are the garbage and recycling toters, in the lake dredging and looking about options for the path. I'll leave it broad, that we need to look at not only where water wants to flow, but what surfaces are going to work best at different parts of the lake. I don't think we need to have a one size fits all solution for all parts of that path, nor would I be the one to know what the best option is going to be. So that's what floats to the top, but No bad ideas so far in my mind.
One of the things in thinking about the toters, the garbage toters, certainly that's where people would be using them more than they would be on the recycling toters. But in talking to people and people who've contacted me, I hope that we would consider something of a baby bear, mama bear, papa bear. Because you got several people that got a lot of retirees around here that would need a large amount of it. And then you got some that would need, because I would assume that on these totes, we could get a 50-gallon tote. I'm sure that those.
I think it's 32, 64, 96.
And the 96 is what the 2 grants that we applied for covers.
That's
the
correct.
96
They have to
gallon.
be the 96 toters
Yeah.
for that grant.
I'd say
That's only for
that'd be
recycling.
a good way of maximizing the money and also to accommodate people that don't want to have to wrestle with a 96-gallon container in it. There's a lot of people that can go by easily with just the totes that we have.
Mm.
And we'll have plenty of extra totes. That's the small ones, I'm saying. For people. If somebody wanted it,
For recycling.
If we do a recollection of those, is that what you're saying? We'll have money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just throwing that out as a way to try to help accommodate some of the citizens who don't want a 96-gallon.
Josh, I have a question about Pam's solar panel idea, which I love as well. Was the Public Works building included in that assessment?
So we did the assessment on, yes, Carver, Public Works, and Public Safety, all 3. So I've got prices for those. They're a little dated. I'll need to get them updated. But we do have those.
I will say that's the one suggestion that will pay for itself in the long run.
Yes, yeah, very good.
Do you have any idea roughly what the Public Works?
If I'm remembering
Right.
correctly, Councilmember Christie, about 150,000, I think is what it was a couple years ago. Carver was the cheaper one and the quicker payback. I think that's why we went with it. It was originally around 80,000, but it did creep up to 100 by the time we got around to doing it.
Probably.
So it may be
Think
a little
about
more.
200.
It may be 200. But we'll get those numbers.
As
Yeah.
far as production compared to Carver, equal production.
If I remember-
1.5, 2 times.
If I remember correctly, Mayor, I think it was similar. I have to pull that report to look, but very similar. You were speaking about input. We could also do a survey too. I forgot about that option, a public opinion survey that we could send out, that we've done a bunch of in the past. People would do that too, so.
I think that's a good idea.
Are you thinking of that coming after some public comments at the meeting next month?
It could have to come after or before.
I'm imagining it might be helpful to have kind of, multiple choice options with an empty box for other ideas, but, yeah, whether we would want to do that based on what we've already brought up today or wait until we have public comments next month.
I think that, the important part of it, I think, is we want to spend it on capital items, right? We don't want to spend it on something that's going to be a continued cost. We want to spend it on salaries, if that makes sense, because then you've got that continuum in perpetuity. So capital items, that way it's the one-time expense is essentially how we do the rest of it.
I would love to see us, because I spoke about it earlier, about how to get in touch with the public. And some of this money used towards a way of getting in touch with the public. If we don't have the medium, we just can't get in touch with everybody. Some people read the Black News, some go ahead and look on the internet, but I think that'd be a great thing, so that if we need to get in touch with everybody, like the red alert system, we can. And I don't know if we can piggyback on top of that or not.
Like a non-emergency version.
Yes.
our notification, you can sign up for notifications on the website. Is that, isn't that kind of what,
I think they have to sign up, but yes.
yeah, they have to sign up, right?
That's
So,
right.
Okay.
But I mean, but to go through, making sure that people know about how to sign up, because a lot of people don't go on the internet, wouldn't know how to do it.
And that's, part of the reason we sent a couple of those inserts in those water bills, telling people if they've got issues and want to sign up, they're welcome to call us and walk them through it. Because they may not, like you said, they don't have internet.
Well, anybody else have any comments if they want to share or discuss any particulars? Doug, on that, when you take Ragmont Park there, would you be looking at the new section down there, maybe having pickleball courts down there? That's better, to break them away from the tennis courts, just so they have their own little area.
I don't know. I can share my opinion, but I guess it was good to have someone, an engineer and designer, come out and look at it. But I do think we should do everything we can to maintain the field down there. We currently, the field is used by kids in soccer and families and dogs and all kinds of stuff. I see people in that field all the time. So I would hate to lose that. And then across where the fire department training was is not currently grass, really. It's a bunch of, I don't know what it is. So, it might make sense to move or to have pickleball down there if the parking lot was somewhere kind of in the middle.
Exactly, that's what I was thinking about too, that, utilize that area, just primary use out for just dumping.
Yeah, it may be closer to certain homes over there, which maybe something to consider, but I would hate to lose the field, so if we can keep
No, I wasn't even speaking about doing pickleball on the field.
Oh, okay.
Think about it being in that new area.
Oh, yeah, definitely separate from the tennis courts. For sure.
Josh, in our, money that we've already allocated, we have 120,000 for pickleball courts. Where is that going? Do we know?
As far as the placement of those courts, I would say either Veterans Park or Cragmont Park.
Okay.
Probably Cragmont Park.
So that could be where we're speaking about.
So the good thing is you've already got money allocated for that.
Right, and we've got the land.
And you got the money. That's right.
What type of a hassle would that be for the public works things? Because, right now, and they have for years used that as a,
They no longer are using it anymore. We're cleaning it out. They've been
There've
cleaning
been
it out.
lots of trucks going back
Yes,
and
there
forth.
have. So we're getting through that hassle now. We're just got to figure out somewhere else to deal with it. So, but yes, it's been a little bit of hassle, but we're working through it.
good.
See, that property was originally bought, that property I owned originally, but since we've owned it, it was bought with land and water conservation fund money, which means it has to be used as a park. That's one reason the fire training ground's not there.
Getting back up to talking about the fire truck, we've got one, that's not full in. Is that the one that we're ordering?
No, it was just a demo we had probably over there and we looked at it. Someone brought one by.
Okay. How much money do we have?
We have just over $700,000, or will, at the end of this budget when we transfer what we need to transfer out of this budget. But that capital is for fire truck. There's $200,000 in there that I think was earmarked for some renovations at the station. We haven't done those. That's just been put on hold for the past few years. So essentially, you've got 700 total, but about 500 for a truck.
And the figure that we need for the truck?
So now I'll give you a little history lesson. So when we bought our new truck in 2017, it was 500,000 approximately. That same truck now is 800,000. So in 5 years' time, that's almost doubled. So you're looking at about $800,000 for an engine right now. The electric option of that engine is 1.6 million. It's double the price of a diesel.
What is 1.6?
An electric.
Right.
But you never buy diesel fuel.
Actually, so actually, the electric truck has a diesel.
Yeah.
It does have a little bit of diesel to help it in certain
Right.
situations.
Backup.
Yes,
Yeah.
just in
Yeah,
case,
we'll back up, yeah.
but yes. You know, I'd like to talk more about our fire trucks and stuff as we get into budget about some different options. When we get into budget talks about fire trucks.
Are these examples that you have listed here or what you would recommend? Or I'm curious what's.
Oh, what I have on here? No, I mean, you know, we've talked so much about the recycling and garbage shutters, that's why I put them in there. And then just, you know, the need, we've had, you know, plenty of need, I think, for an upgrade in this room. I mean, I don't think anything's been changed since we moved in this building in 2006, 2007, whatever that was. You know, I haven't really heard a lot from staff. Jessica's got a few ideas on some stormwater projects, but I haven't gotten anything really from staff. If you want me to get stuff from staff, I'm happy to do that. But, you know, we could go through our capital, our CIP plan, and look at what staff.
Have you heard anything from the golf course side? As to what,
Well, we're getting some paving numbers in. Trying to get some quotes for a new building, maintenance building. I know Jerry's getting quotes for rebuilding expensive things like tees and greens, and trying to put together a much longer range plan for that kind of stuff. But I think immediate needs are going to be some paving issues and drainage issues out there. For this upcoming budget, well, more than likely you'll see that for paving.
well, is everyone satisfied with the approach that we're gonna take here? You've listed your items that you'd like to follow through with, and you're gonna bring them. All we need is, I wouldn't be comfortable in voting, I don't vote, but I mean, the next meeting, I think what Bill's saying, incorporate a lot of this into the budget. Have a discussions of it.
Well, I don't know, except that, I mean, that was from our original law, but then Josh said it would be helpful in planning the budget if we knew that we were gonna spend some of this stuff.
Oh, yeah, I'm just saying that without a vote on it, I'm just saying, just be.
I do think the
You would
vote
never-
would be clear guidance for the staff about what we want in next year's budget.
So if we were gonna do a questionnaire survey, we would need to do that prior to the meeting.
We can get a survey out tomorrow.
Cool.
Okay. I listed a bunch of things, but I have no idea how much any of them really cost. I mean, I have the Parks and Rec stuff, but, you know, I'd be curious to know some more firm or estimated numbers on some of these stuff that we're talking about. You know, so we can kind of see what we could actually get done, how many we could check off.
Sure.
Right, the combination will be
Yeah.
important. It's gotta add up.
You know, your dredging on the lake is gonna be very expensive, right? It always is. You're probably looking at $500,000. I mean, I don't know that would do it all, just to be honest, I don't know. We've got someone coming up here to give us an estimate.
The one thing about that, that does not have to go to a certified landfill.
Yeah, I don't know about all that.
Well, I looked into it
Okay,
last
good.
time.
Good.
It does not have to go to a certified landfill, so that would save us tremendous amount of money.
Oh, yeah, that's a lot of money hauling that to the landfill.
Are there any options for funding grants for the?
We've been looking and looking and looking, and we haven't had much success yet.
Wildlife habitat grant option, I mean, I don't know, like looking at the wildlife that is served there, is that? Okay.
Look.
Yeah.
Have to look.
When is someone coming out to look at dredging?
Well, hopefully, they were gonna come today. That was pretty nasty, so hopefully tomorrow or Friday.
Oh, cool.
And he does the dredging at Lake Lure, so I figured he'd probably know what he's doing, at least for a number. You'd have to, we're gonna have to solicit quotes for that and bids, but at least get a number
You say he's coming
this week.
this week. Could you just mention to him, just say, can that go down into
I will.
Craig Park?
I will ask.
because that would reduce the hall bill, and also to build that up some.
And that's a lot of the expense, it's not getting rid of it. It's a long way to the landfill from here.
So, there was grant money available for the recycling toters, but you don't anticipate grant money available for our garbage toters or Bill's bins, excuse me. Okay,
And we have heard back on one of the grants.
So we did hear back from one of the grant funding agencies, they are gonna give us 40,000 for recycling, so we're waiting for the other one.
and this 236 doesn't factor that in,
236 does that factors in all the grants.
okay,
If you don't have the 236, you're looking at 342, 500.
okay.
for the-
So Josh, just to clarify this, which I may have complicated, but is it true from your opinion, the more that we could, even next meeting, the more the clearer idea you have about our ideas on spending this money, that'll be helpful in building the budget later in the process?
It will. It will.
Okay.
I mean, as you all probably know or will know soon, we're always gonna have more asks than we have money for.
Yeah.
Right, so, the quicker I get those asks in, the quicker I can start cutting or giving you other options on how to fund it.
All right, so I'd be in favor of, let's see how much of it that we can allocate at the next meeting. And hopefully we can make progress on it, maybe we can, so let's try. Get surveys.
So in between now and then, we'll do a survey and get it out tomorrow. And we'll have it on the agenda, people can speak in public comment.
Sounds good.
So right now, just from what you put in front of us here, we've got roughly almost $500 million after we buy the totals.
And if you did the council chamber upgrade, that's
And
correct,
that's all
Mayor.
it.
Correct.
That's correct.
Okay, absolutely. I'm just trying so that we have some idea, put our hands around the amount of money that we would have left to spend.
That's right. And I'll give you another example. Councilmember Hay mentioned Cragmont. If you looked at Cragmont Park on the Parks and Rec spreadsheet, okay, the paving is off. That 500,000 is not a correct number. So we've got a quote for that. It's much cheaper than $500,000. You could probably do almost all of Cragmont Park for what you'll have remaining. The 463 would be close.
You're saying that 1,020,000 should be what?
That $500,000 for paving, that's not realistic. That's probably more around 200.
Okay. Well, that's a rare positive change.
And maybe even a little less than that. I'll also tell you on the Lake Tomahawk, not that we need to get off subject, but the Lake Tomahawk Park, the one right below it, the paving on that is 300,000, not 1 million.
I like this
Wow,
trend.
I'm feeling
This is a good trend.
We actually got a quote to pave Lake Tomahawk, and it's the cheapest. We quoted it about 10 years ago. It was 130,000, and we just quoted it, and it's $94,000 to pave. Can't believe it's that cheap.
One thing that has gone down.
Mm-hmm. The only thing that's gone down.
You said 94?
Mm-hmm.
I think you just said 300.
Well, that's including drainage and some
Oh.
grading work. I'm not convinced that all that, there will need to be some drainage and grading work, but it's much cheaper than $1 million, maybe even cheaper than 300,000.
Awesome. Well, I don't have anything else to add.
Anybody else?
Not a bad idea in a bunch, in my opinion. It's just a question of how to prioritize them.
How about since that paving is cheaper, how about the paving and the, ball fields at Rick Park? Veterans Park. Sorry.
All right, now say that again.
The paving that you were gonna do.
Oh, on here, we haven't quoted that yet, so it'll probably be cheaper too.
We're talking about parking, the repave at the parking area and the walking path. So it would be both of those items.
Councilmember Berry, we were talking about the paved 10-foot asphalt walking path, half a mile on Cragmont. and then the walking path paving 1 mile on Lake Tomahawk.
Yeah, I'm trying to connect it to the Veterans Park items, but
Gotcha.
I don't know if that trend is specific to walking trends or also parking lots.
I don't think it matters. I think it's just, I think it's just the pavement cost right now. A little bit cheaper.
And of course, this came from the master plan. He's paving, you looked into paving too, but what's the push on
Paving,
paving these paths? As opposed to
maintenance is a
leaving
lot
them
of
like
it.
they are.
Maintenance is a lot of it. Erosion's a lot of it. We spend a fortune on rock dust every year of putting it back after it washes away.
Like how much?
That and salaries, the time spent on doing that. Every time it rains, we have to redo Lake Tomahawk. Every time.
And now we're gonna dredge it out and move it somewhere else.
Yeah, but most of that dredging came from the paving rock.
A lot of the stuff that's in there.
I'm saying, I think we just need to be cognizant of what citizens say about paving. Do they like the unpaved paths?
Well, I think it's important to get all the options for what those different surfaces could be. And there may be portions that are best paved and portions that are best.
And redesign it as far as so that you can control the runoff. Stormwater.
That's correct. That is correct.
Well, I don't hear, anybody else got anything? If not, call the meeting adjourned.